We'll see. Uh, all right. Are we recording? Yeah, we're recording. Welcome to
We
another
live.
episode. We are live. I'm here with Moshe and Johnny Kimber,
Yo,
and we're
yo,
going to talk about
yo.
in the house, and we're going to talk about the BRRRR strategy. So, what is the BRRRR strategy, guys?
Moshe, let them know that's your thing. That's your strong point. So
I
give
love
them the
BRRRR. I
business.
love BRRRR. It's
The
chilly in here.
business.
BRRRR. I love chicken. I love BRRRR. But the BRRRR strategy is basically where you buy, you renovate, you rent, you refinance, and you repeat that process. So when you're talking about real estate investing for the long term and really generating or creating wealth, you're looking at implementing the BRRRR strategy the right way. And
Mhm.
so for us, as we've talked about in our other podcasts, we kind of leveled up from wholesale, fix and flip, and then BRRRR. So now we're buying two BRRRRs, flipping one, or buying two flips and then BRRRRing another deal. So we're always focused on building our rental portfolio because that's the mailbox money.
Right,
BRRRR gives you the mailbox money. That's the short form.
right. And whenever you're buying, are you looking for a specific type of property that's the best equipped for this strategy?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to factor in to doing BRRRR correctly. And one of the main things is you have to sort of know what type of properties. I think it's best for you to have an idea of what type of property you want to BRRRR, right? You need to know what location you want to BRRRR in. So knowing your market. You want to understand the condition of the property so that you can determine what type of money you need to put into the property, right? For maximum profitability when you refinance. And so all of those things have to be taken in consideration before you just go out shopping for a property, because the one thing about BRRRR that will definitely take you off course and it can turn into a disaster is if you don't know your numbers. And knowing your numbers beyond just knowing what I just talked about is knowing what a lender is willing to give you in terms of your loan to value, your maximum loan to value. Because when you refinance, unlike a flip, right? You flip a property, you know that if the ARV in that area is whatever it is, and you know what you put into it, you know that once you sell that property, you know that you're expecting this much money out of it, right? Well, it's different, and you're getting 100% of what you put into it out of it in a flip. 100% you're going to get when you sell it. But with a BRRRR, you're not going to get 100% of what you put into it unless you understand how much a lender is willing to give you in terms of the equity. So most lenders are only going to give you like 70 to 75% of the equity. So if you know that, then you have to work your numbers backwards and say, if I'm only going to be able to get 75% of my equity out of here, what do I need to buy this property for? How much can I afford to put into it? And how much will it be worth afterwards? If it's going to be worth whatever that number is, you're only going to get 75%, 70 to 75% of that money out of it from the lender. So that's how you kind of calculate your numbers backwards in terms of what you pay for, what you renovate it for, based on what you need to get out of it in the refinance. Does that make sense? I tried to make it easy, but
Yeah. It's a lot to take in, right? So if are you looking at properties that can be drastically improved through renovations? Is that part of the appeal of this strategy? Are you looking for the properties that actively need to be renovated, and you know that if you renovate them, then you can then it's going to be more profitable and equitable for you?
exactly, because the whole purpose of the of BRRRR is to find properties where you can force equity, because you want to force the equity to be able to pull some of that equity out of it when you refinance. If you buy a property that doesn't need any work and sort of it's already turnkey, right? Then when you refinance it, you're not going to get any more value out of it because it was already at top of the market. You see, if you bought something, say, if I bought your property that you already renovated, Nick, and I'm trying to BRRRR on your property, 9 times out of 10, you've renovated it for max value.
Yeah.
So there's no equity to be had in a BRRRR scenario. So you want to look for properties that have the ability to, where you have the ability to add the value. That way you can get the value back out in your refinance. John, you want to add to it? I know this is my lane, but do you want to add to it?
And add value, you know, like Mo said, add value can be a broad list of things, from renovations to adding square footage. But you always want to look for value add. That's the key thing in the BRRRR strategy. It has to be some form of value add that can take place in that asset so you can maximize your return.
And
so
let me
the best BRRRRs, go ahead.
No, go ahead, babe. Finish that sentence.
Some of the best BRRRRs are a duplex that you can convert into a triplex, or a duplex that you can change from a 1-1 to a 2-1. Those are the type of value adds that are very profitable when you're dealing with multifamily BRRRR strategy.
And if I can add one more value add to that, something as simple as what we did in one of our properties is we added coin laundry. That's an entirely separate income stream in a multifamily scenario, you know, where there's no laundry facilities. If you have extra space to be able to build out a laundry center, if you will, and use coin laundry machines, then you know that's extra value on the property.
Okay, I see. So for the audience, if they've got the, let's say that hypothetically they've got the property, they're looking to renovate it, and what's the process look like for renting it? Like, are you looking while you're renovating to find a renter? Are you renovating it and then actively searching for renters? What does that process look like for you guys?
Well, we typically don't start looking for renters until the property is complete. But what we do know in advance to the property being finished is how much rent we can command, because that's a part of knowing your numbers, right? So you know that if you're renovating and your max rent in this area is, you know, $1,000, let's say, for instance, right? When you're doing your calculations on whether this is a good BRRRR strategy property, you have to know that once you refinance, right? Once you refinance and you get a mortgage on this property because you've cashed out, you got to make sure that you have analyzed it properly, whereby it's going to cover your debt service and give you cash flow. So knowing where your rent, what you can max rent for that in that area is important in the beginning before you even start anything. That's the main part of BRRRR that I can't stress enough, is knowing the numbers. How do you know what you can do with this property and if it works for the BRRRR strategy? So that's something that we really dig into in our course. And it's very different, Nick, than how you analyze a property to fix and flip.
And when are you looking to be paid back? Like, when do you think is like a healthy length of time that you expect to become net positive with this strategy?
Well, you should be net positive as soon as you refinance. And most lenders will say,
as you refinance.
As soon as you refinance, most lenders will say they have what they call seasoning, meaning that you have to, most lenders will require you to have owned the property for at least 3 to 6 months. And that's normally the time it's going to take you to renovate anyway, right? So once you refinance, if you've analyzed the deal properly, if you've already pre-vetted the lender you want to use to refinance, right? Because you want to sort of set yourself up for success in the beginning of the project by calling around, speaking to different lenders, asking them, hey, what is your max loan to value? What are your current interest rates? They may fluctuate by the time your property is finished, but you have a general idea of who you want your lending partner to be, right? So by the time you get to the end, you should be able to successfully say, I'm going to be able to be made whole in terms of the money that I put into this, and still be able to have cash flow. Because that's normally what
Mm.
people want. You want to be made whole with the money that you put in, that you're able to extract it and do it again. That's the repeat. But yet, while you own that asset, you want it to positively return cash flow every month. That's the best of both worlds in a BRRRR strategy. Equity, cash flow.
Yeah, that's a very attractive strategy indeed, because you generate cash flow, make all your money back, and then start generating cash flow right away.
And it's a
Immediately.
very repeatable process.
That's the beauty of the BRRRR. That's if done right. And how do I know? Because we've done it wrong to know how to do it right.
Right.
And you gotta take the time and doing your due diligence is very important. Very, very, very important.
Yeah. So to reiterate, I hear that knowing your numbers and working with the correct lender are two, and knowing your properties, which properties are three elements that are very important in successfully doing that. Would that be fair to say?
That would be so
Absolutely.
fair to say. Absolutely.
Okay. So what do you guys say to it's somebody that wants to get into this and is looking at the BRRRR strategy and hears this and is good? Why don't you tell them how they would get started? What tips you have? Just based on mistakes that you made executing this strategy. Just drop a little bit of knowledge for us and try to save people a little bit of time and of
Well,
the
the first thing
process.
I'd say is don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Get yourself a coach. Education first, and get yourself a coach to help you execute. Because if you don't, you are bound to make mistakes, just because it is a very intricate, intricate in the sense that when you don't know, you just don't know, right? But once you know, it's not as intricate as it is when you don't know. So educate yourself on it, get yourself a coach, and allow them to kind of help you get through some of those analyzing hurdles, because it is, like I said, it's a little more sophisticated than your 70% rule that you hear us talking about in the fix and flip world. So that's what I would recommend.
And also too, just to point out, when we give our recommendation and we give our tips, there's no two real estate deals that are going to be the same. Every deal is different. So like my wife pointed out, it's very important to have a coach and someone that's going to help you through the process, because you never know what curveball is going to come out of a real estate transaction. There's always surprises. Nothing is always a straight line from start to finish. So education is important. Being able to do the right due diligence and knowing how to do the right due diligence is important. And picking the right value add asset that you can get in and out of in a timely manner and get the right rent. So the research is everything when you're dealing with a BRRRR strategy.
Love it. Love it. All right. Anything else y'all want to add in terms of this? You want to speak to the course just a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, if you want to learn the BRRRR and if you want to do everything officially the right way with some great support and people that's going to be right there with you along the way, make sure to check us out. We're going to show you the steps. We're going to walk you through it. We're going to be there with you through the process. We're going to hold your hand because we want to nurture you to make sure that you grow into the investor you need to be.
Yeah, I think Johnny said it all. Let us meet you where you are and coach you from where you are to where you want to be, and help you to avoid the costly mistakes that we have had to make to get to where we are. And I think the Real Estate Growth Academy is a perfect tool that allows you to get the foundation of education, but most importantly, beyond that, I can't stress it enough, access to us. Like I literally just talked to one of our coaching students this morning that was having a challenge, and it's like, okay, so where are you challenged? Okay, boom. Because that's what we do. We literally look at your individual situation and see where about in your funnel, if you will, in your funnel of things that you have to do, the A, B, and C's of what you have to do, where your challenges lie. Everybody's challenge is different. Do you know what I mean? So I think the coaching allows us to say, it sounds like you might be challenged in negotiating, or it sounds like you might be challenged in lead generation. And we're able to then pinpoint your challenge and help you jump over that hurdle to get to the next step to be successful. So that's what
Absolutely.
we do in support of
Absolutely. Hands-on. It's not a get a course and forget about it type of scenario, which
No.
can be, it can be effective, but in all reality, you know, people need that level of mentorship whenever they're just starting out. And that's what makes this really so special, is it's more than a course, it's an interactive experience, and it's going to give you an investment vehicle that it's going to make you more money. You got to put in the time, you got to put in the work, you got to be willing to learn.
I think Nick rose up.
Hope that magic results are going to happen. You have to put in some work, you have to put in some blood, sweat, and tears. But if you do your due diligence and take action, then you know, you could be sitting where Johnny and Moshe are. They were in newbies seats at one time
Yes,
in their
indeed.
life, but they had mentors, they had people that guided them, and now they're able to be in a position to teach this stuff. So all right, guys, thank you so much for helping enlighten the individuals, the youth of America, and the
Yes,
elderly that are
the
listening.
youth of
Let's go.
America.
Let's get it.
About the
Changing
BRRRR
lives one
strategy
day at
and,
a time, one property at a time.
one property at a time. All right. I think that wraps it up for this one. And until next time, guys.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you, Johnny.